Special thanks to NabNew for sponsoring this video. Nab is a website that tracks all the latest releases from all your favorite fandoms. Everything from anime, figures, horror movies, graphic novels, and more. You can follow everything you're into, and whenever some new hot merch drops, Nab shows you. You can click on any fandom you like, and then it'll create a tailor-made feed just for you in your My Stuff tab. Like how this new figure of jalapeno chicken hair Rengoku released that looks absolutely delicious. Not only that, but Nab also compares the prices of other sites, guaranteeing you'll get the lowest price possible. They have so many fandoms that even I was surprised. I'm not hurting to find what I'm looking for. Right now, Nab is offering a $50 gift card to every 100 people who sign up. Follow the link below so you can get started. Captain Underpants, Warriors, Fablehaven, Ranger's Apprentice, Diary of a Wimpy Kid. All of these books were the most sought after in my school's library. I didn't get to read the first book of the Warrior Saga until they were already on Firestar's quest. It was so bad. And nowadays, people will tell you about the magic of the Scholastic Book Fair and how that wonderful feeling of being surrounded by books tailor-made to feed your wildest imaginations was something that just can't be replicated by going to a regular bookstore. There's a lot to be said about children's books made for this specific age. A lot of authors will write children's books simply because it's easier to break into the market than writing your more mature novels. Now that's not to say it's easy to publish a children's book, because it's not. It's just easier. Easiest is actually romance, comprising about 55% of all fiction, and mystery thriller novels comprise 30%, while general fiction is only 13%. But fiction in general is an incredibly difficult genre to break into. You can probably imagine that children's and young adult books is incredibly desirable to break into, because if you do break into it and you have a successful book, then you'll have several generations of people who will be reading that book because, well, it kind of works for a long time. Those kind of books will be paying dividends for years. Diary of a Wimpy Kid released his 15th book. I thought they would stop at 4. And there's over 60 Warriors books because, well, they never actually stopped making them. You can go to Barnes & Noble's right now and find the books that you were reading when you were in middle school. If you just, go to the kids section, which I haven't done in a long time. Honestly, those books are still hold up. Those are still fun to read. And because of this possible success, Disney has made several lines of children's books. I already covered the Disney fairies, but they also released the Witch graphic novels. But I want to focus on another franchise that fell down the same hole that several other Disney intellectual properties have. Star Darlings. But before I do, I realize there is a stain on my shirt, so I'm gonna go change. Oh, this is the look for the video. Okay, I look less like a Star Darling and more like I'm participating in an 80s glam roller derby. At least I'm sparkly. Star Darlings was originally a book franchise centered around 12 girls from Starling Academy, chosen to go to Earth and grant 12 wishes in order to save their home from evil. Disney released Star Darlings alongside a short animated series, hoping to kick off the book series and grow it into a solid franchise. And since this is a video, I'm going to focus on the animated series first before diving into the books. So there's these girls who live in a magical starland who go to a magical star school. They're all called to the principal's office.
For some of you, this is your first day at Starling Academy, but I want to assure you that none of you are in trouble. Phew! However, Starland is.
Can you imagine if your principal did that to you? You get called into the office and they go, "Hey, the world is in danger!" That's a lot of pressure to put on a kid. I feel like the most stressful thing a kid at that age should be worrying about is puberty. Apparently us humans, the wishlings, make wishes, and they fulfill these wishes. I'm sorry, what's your business model? Is this going to cost me anything? I feel like they're missing out on a serious business opportunity here. I would pay to have my wishes come true. Maybe genies should start charging for wishes.
Negative wish energy is being released, and it's destroying Starland. We have no idea what's causing this crisis or how to stop it.
I think I can tell you because most of us wish we were dead. Am I right, fellow Yeah, existence is pain.
12 star-charmed starlings. These girls would have the unique ability to grant 12 mysterious wishes, and in doing so, release positive wish energy so powerful, they would be able to solve this terrible crisis.
They have to grant 12 mysterious wishes. What constitutes as a mysterious wish? One of the star darlings can come up to me and I'll be like, hey, I wish my neighbor could take a hike, if you know what I mean. I wish my neighbor would go swimming with the fishes, if you know what I mean. You know, if my neighbor actually dies, I wonder if this could be incriminating.
So, Sage, I guess that SD on your star zap stood for star detention.
Stop. I'm calling it now. She's going to be my favorite character. I can just feel it. I'm weird like that. I love a bad bitch.
Oh, my stars! That reminds me, Lady Stella. What does SD stand for?
Oh, it stands for Star
Daddy.
I am Professor Ursa.
You know, maybe I should start introducing myself like that. It commands attention. I am negative. Yeah, that feels good.
Oh, my stars! That really is Wish World.
Now that's a dream come true, isn't it?
Actually, tonight, my dream come true is you, Sage.
Wow, talk about being forward. Who says Disney is against representation?
What? Me? Yeah, because you're my friend.
I do. I say that Disney is against representation. And then they start a band because, well, duh. Everyone wants to sell music to kids, especially Disney.
Why'd the music stop? Is that really how you dance, Vega? Yeah, smooth moves, right?
More like sad moves.
Leona, what do you mean?
I think they mean you suck.
We think you have a problem, Libby.
What? Me? A problem? Oh no, but I don't have any problems.
Hit it, Clover.
Pink, 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 boys, all my stars. Pink, 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 super zoomy sparkle, pink, 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 boys, zoom. Anyway, that was all of the episodes. They don't actually go into the actual mission of granting wishes and, you know, saving Starland. Let's get into the real meat of this. Each one of them needs to go to Earth and grant a special wish in order to create enough positive wish energy to save their world. So this is called Power of 12, which is actually based off of the very last book in the chapter book series, Gemma and the Ultimate Standoff. There are some things that have transpired that we haven't seen from any of the episodes or the shorts. Any theories?
Well, I was kicked out of the Star Darlings and Ophelia took my place.
Like that! Apparently that happened. Man, it'd be really nice if they could animate these in chronological order of events that transpired in the books instead of picking one in the very end of the series and having us fill in the gaps. But nah, that'd be ridiculous.
Why are they up there?
Because someone snuck those flowers into our dorms. They made all the Star Darlings fight, Leona, but we found negatite in the flowers, Leona.
Oh, wait. They cover negatite in the episodes. That's one of those bad things. You can tell because it sounds like negative. Hey, wait a minute. Well, now I'm offended. So they work together to organize all of the evidence in order to figure out several persons of interest to try and find out who is behind the abundance of negative energy. Then Piper says she had a vision, and it looks like what is obviously going to be the big bad evil guy. But given all the evidence, they strongly believe and blame the principal, Lady Stella. Then Lady Stella realizes, hey, all that evidence also applies to Lady Cordial, and they figured out who the real bad guy is.
Why? Why do you think? To get control of Starland.
with negative energy?
Yes, Starland is about to be depleted. And once I unleash all the negative energy from this facility, Starland will be mine.
Then she knocks out Lady Stella and starts her evil scheme, and the Star Darlings intervene. That rhymed. And turns out Lady Cordial is the big bad evil person from Piper's vision, Rancora. I know, don't you hate it when you beat the boss and they have a second phase? Ugh. And then they realize the special wish crystals they acquired from granting wishes gives them ultra superpowers, that is enough energy to defeat Rancora. And they restore the energy to Starland. Happy ending. No, seriously, that's it. That's the end. The real story is in the books. Especially since with the power of 12, they skip over a lot of content that was never animated, so none of us could actually watch what happened. So if you feel like you've missed something, no, you didn't. Disney just didn't animate everything. But first, I'm gonna change back into something that's not 80s glam rock. Oh, the stain's back, ew. I know this may be a shocker, but the books go into more detail. Wow. It goes into their first day at school, their families, how their dorms are actually tailor-made for each of them based on their personalities, which sounds so nice. There's a school similar to theirs, but for boys, probably for a possible spin-off if the franchise is successful. There's a lot of stuff. There's a line in the first book reading, after the processions, the students were led into the auditorium where Sage settled into a plush seat. Very comfy, she thought. And that's how you know this story is fiction. If those seats don't start hurting the moment you sit down, that's not an authentic school experience. What I like is that they distinguish good wishes, bad wishes, and impossible wishes. Which makes perfect sense when I say it out loud, but I like how they actually put more thought into it rather than just good and bad. I do have one gripe, and it's mostly just that I like it when these stories change up the words and make it more cutesy for their universe. But Star Darlings does it in the worst possible way. There's Starmins for minutes. There's Starsex for seconds. Superstar, My Moons and Stars, Starmundus, Startastic, Star Salutations. You get the idea. Also, the day when they receive the news that they'll all be Star Darlings goes down very differently than how it's portrayed in the show. First of all, Lady Stella tells them that the reason isn't because there's big trouble happening in Starland. She just tells them that she's hoping that if younger Starlings go to Earth to grant wishes, it will produce more power. And yeah, they say that in the show, but they don't talk about, you know, the big crisis of negative energy happening. And you meet Lady Cordial in that scene, who, you know, you eventually find out is the big bad guy, Rancora. Can someone explain something to me? Before Star Darling's technology, you know, advanced, how did they collect wish energy? What was their primary source of energy before they could travel to Earth? Could they always travel to Earth? I mean, they just hop on a wishing star, but like, how did they discover energy? They should have had like a caveman era of their life. They didn't always have the most advanced technology in the world. How did they make that jump from nothing to hyper-advanced technology using wish energy from another planet? Some things just don't add up. Also, I can't stand how Lady Stella is so vague. They're like, why did you choose the 12 of us? Oh, you'll find out. Thanks, Lady Stella, that doesn't help. What is this special crystal thing I got when I fulfilled my human's wish? Oh, you'll find out in due time. Like, just tell them. Why does it need to be a secret? I mean, like, you're not even doing a good job. It's like, I can't tell you because this isn't the time to have the big reveal. Whoop-de-doo. Like, no. What's interesting is that apparently they all have subtle powers when they go to Wish World, like subtle powers of suggestion, like Force Jedi mind tricks. Like, I am a new student here. I am supposed to be here. You are a new student here. You are supposed to be here. Hold on, where's your hall pass? I don't know what a hall pass is. I don't need a hall pass. And I always thought it was weird how in the episodes they never actually showed them going down to Earth to grant these wishes. The first two books are an absolute slog to read. It's only at the end of the second book where the big conspiracy starts developing. You know how people are, Lady Cordial is sabotaging them, and Scarlet gets kicked out of the Star Darlings, and that's a whole thing. In the mini-movie, you remember them talking about all these things that have happened on their missions that we didn't get to see? That's them summarizing all the events of the books, but in a very, very condensed format. Each book focuses on one character going down to Earth to grant a wish. And by the latter half of the 12 books, it eventually starts getting interesting with the whole conspiracy of who's sabotaging them. and it has far more depth than the mini-movie could ever hoped to achieve. But then again, that's not saying much when you literally skip 10 books! They confront Lady Stella, who is like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're confronting me. She goes away, and then they eventually realize that it's Lady Cordial. It doesn't quite play out how it happens in the mini-movie. Turns out Lady Cordial actually trapped Lady Stella, so they're lost and don't know what to do, and the big battle against Rancora, after she really reveals she's not actually Lady Cordial, actually happens during a big festival in front of a bunch of people, but I guess that's too difficult to animate with very limited resources, so they just had it in a barren field for the mini-movie. And if I'm gonna be honest, the books are only okay. There's better books for young adults. For kids, for both. What's the correct terminology? Young adults is like 13. What age range is this? Point is, there's better books than this. And there's better books for a young demographic. Like the Ever After High books were way better than this. And that's not just me trying to tell you that, I'm blinded by rose-colored glasses with Ever After High because you know how much I love Ever After High. I'm just saying, these are very boring sometimes. But now that we have a lot of those chapter books out of the way, there are 2 books that took place after the final book, also quote-unquote after the final mini-movie that we all saw. Starting with Stealing Starlight. You remember Vivica, the bully character that I said would become my favorite character? Well, this actually focuses on her. Turns out, over the course of all the books, she made her own band to compete with the Star Darlings, and she's actually super jealous of the Star Darlings because Vivica actually had almost enough credentials to be a Star Darling herself, and she really, really wants to be a Star Darling. But because she didn't quite make the cut, she's incredibly jealous of them. And Rancora figures that out. And Rancora realizes there's this big prophecy that says, oh, there's one Star Darling who will be choose the ultimate fate of the world for some reason. And she goes up to Vivica and says, hey, you wanna be my Star Darling? And Vivica's like, you know what? Cool. And so Vivica gets sent to Earth to grant a bad wish for Rancora. So the Star Darlings eventually realize this. They go to Earth and they have to figure out how to change the mind of the wishling to not have a bad wish. They need to change the bad wish to a good wish. And the way they do that is by writing a song. And it works. The human with the bad wish felt misunderstood, that she wasn't getting the limelight, but her best friend was, and she wanted the limelight, and blah, blah, blah. So the Star Darlings made a wish of like, do you feel alone? Do you feel left out? Ho ho! It's actually talking about Vivica's feelings also, as well as the humans. Whoa! What levels to this story? Anyway, it works. They go back to Starland, and Vivica gets suspended. I feel like a school shouldn't get to decide the punishment for someone who is basically a traitor to their country. I mean, we're talking about like unleashing a large amount of negative energy and disrupting the energy system of the entire Starland. That feels like there should be like a governmental body intercepting this. Why is a school determining the power? Whatever. It's the Hogwarts problem all over again. You can tell that this book is supposed to be a new entry point because it covers a lot of what we already know. Next, we move on to the last book, Good Wish, Gone Bad. And this is actually a prequel that talks about Lady Stella and Rancora when they were young and in school together, and they were actually best friends. There's an energy drought, and they theorize that it's because people on Earth aren't actually making enough wishes because they don't have enough hope, because this is during the time of, segregation. They went that far back. Yeah, they specifically mention this. I quote, I begin to think it has something to do with what Professor Gibbous said, and that it's difficult for girls and women on Wish World right now. For one thing, we know girls aren't given as many opportunities as boys. A lot of wishling girls are told that they shouldn't even bother going to college, and some colleges don't even accept girls. Some places even have policies against hiring wishling women. And if they do go to work, they're paid less than wishling men doing the exact same thing. Star Darling said women's rights, because that wouldn't be a hotly debated topic nowadays too. So Stella and Rancora decide to break the law, go down to Earth, and test out theories of how to increase the number of wishes. and they meet a girl who wants to race her horse in a horse race, whatever that's called. Horse jockey, but her parents hired an abusive horse jockey to take her place. And Stella and Rancora are all like, oh, we gotta figure out a way to convince your parents. And the little girl's like, you know, honestly, I kinda just wish my horse would stomp on the abusive jockey. And then a bad wish orb appears, and they're like, oh no, we screwed up. So because Rancora feels super bad, she goes to the negative energy facility where they hold all the bad wish orbs to try and destroy that bad wish orb. And she does. But because it released a bunch of negative energy right where she is, she kind of just absorbs it, and you get the idea of where this is going. Stella tells the headmistress what's happened. Cora gets expelled, but since Stella confessed, she gets to stay. And Cora is thoroughly upset by that, obviously. And all that negative energy inside her, coupled with her newly found lust for revenge, makes her into the enemy that she becomes later on. Her origin story. And when I say that getting expelled ruined her life, I mean her boyfriend breaks up with her family doesn't treat her the same, and she's sentenced to go to a re-education facility to basically have her mind scrubbed. Like, it legitimately ruins her life. And Lady Stella carries the guilt of accidentally putting her best friend in such a crappy situation. Sometimes even believing that she should have been expelled as well. Fast forward to present day, the Star Darlings discover Rancora and Stella's history. They go to the negative energy facility that, you know, Rancora used to go to, and they find Rancora's journal. Eventually, Rancora catches them, confronts them, and then Lady Stella goes, oh no, I'm here too, with armor, ready to do battle. But then they don't do battle, and she just teleports the Star Darlings out of there. And then they're like, oh gosh, thank you for saving us, Lady Stella. But we discovered that Rancora has a garden of negative energy that she's harboring on this one island. And Lady Stella says, don't worry, I already destroyed it. And that's basically the end of the book. I mean, like, how can you talk about can you say anticlimactic? Because that is this book. If you look up anticlimactic in the dictionary, it is this book. The book series lasted 14 books in the main series, not including the compilations or omnibuses, and 4 standalone books that are those kind of books that really just explain the main premise of the show and don't actually add any actual content to the world or story. There could be multiple reasons why Disney abandoned Star Darlings, but the most prevailing theory is that during the time Star Darlings was being published, Disney Descendants also began. And it is not uncommon for Disney to just drop unsuccessful projects for something that is successful because they know they can milk it for a ton of money. Disney churns out so many small intellectual properties, hoping for one of them to get big, and when they do, just forget about the rest. We got one that worked. Go with that one. It's a shotgun like mentality, like just throw it at the wall, see what works, whatever sticks, go with that one. The fan base typically points the blame to this, which honestly it is very likely, but if I am going to be honest, the other very likely situation is just that the books just aren't good. They're not. I'm sorry, I know you're a fan. If you're watching this, I know you're a fan. I read all the books and my God, I can't stand them. I think the only book I actually enjoyed was Good Wish Gone Bad, and even then it was only like the first half, and then after that it's just boring again. And then after that, there were a few more books that were supposed to be published, but they all got canceled, because of course they would be. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you now learn everything you need about Star Darlings, but that's everything I have. It could have been good as a TV series, but that's not how it turned out. Stay beautiful, and keep playing.